Hape Beast is arguably going to be the biggest drop of the year. They've got over 200,000 real members in their Discord. Their Twitter is at around 83,000. And their Genesis collection has a floor price of 25 ETH. So it's going to be big. Let's jump in and check out what the price could hit for Hape Beast. First up, I want to say if you could hit up that like button, it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, down the bottom, there are chapters, so you can fast forward to the sections that you want to help you navigate the video easier. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before jumping into the NFT space. What I want to say before we move on and get into it, these are price predictions that I'm making off what past projects have done with similar hype. Saying that, we don't have all of the information from the actual project, so it could fluctuate from there, but this is a good way to kind of get an idea of what the floor may hit and what could do actually if you get one, and where it could go and what may happen. So anyway, let's get into it. Now I'm going to skip over the background of Hape Beast and just get straight into the numbers. They're going to be releasing 8,192 Hapes. Now with 200,000 people in their Discord, and it will get closer to 300, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be missing out. They are going to be releasing 1,000 OG spots, and those have almost taken up, which does kind of reduce the supply there a little bit. There are almost 4,100 Hape list spots. That's essentially their whitelist, which then cuts that down even more. And then they're also going to be giving some to their treasury, some to the mods, and anyone that owns a Genesis Hape Beast will actually be able to mint one. And the Genesis collection are almost like the test art that they've kind of had and what they were playing around with, and the floor price is at 25 ETH. So with the floor price of 25 ETH, this gives us a good indication of what people are going to be willing to pay for a Hape Beast or have the ability to kind of come in. That's not saying that the floor price will hit 25 on Hape Beast, but it means that these actually have value when it comes down to minting in general. Now the main comparison that I'm going to be making with these price predictions is Mekaverse. The reason I'm choosing Mekaverse is because the hype was big, the hype was real. I know there will be people in the comments below going, oh, but this is different, this is different. The idea is that the hype is very similar to what it was when the promo came out and how it's kind of building up. And when it comes down to the release, it is a similar release with around 8,000. So Mekaverse had around sort of 700 more than Hape Beast is going to release. Now the floor price currently on Mekaverse is 1.45. Mekaverse had a listing price at 0.2 ETH. Now what happened is people were able to get one or two. Now with this in mind, people did opt for two, which then meant people could have some liquidity when it came to being in the project and still holding on to one. So I do believe that added to a price ceiling when it comes to the pre-reveal. But with Hape Beast, they haven't released a price yet, and I do believe that we're going to be getting around that 0.2 ETH mark because the hype is there and it's real, and I do believe that they can justify it. It may go up higher, but I don't think you're ever going to see a 0.08 release when it comes down to Hape Beast. So this screenshot is from about 10 hours after Mekaverse had actually been released. And we can see that down the bottom, everyone had actually kind of minted their Mecha, but the floor price was sitting quite flat at around that sort of 5 to 6 mark. So that's where it was kind of bouncing around at. So I believe that when everyone has a chance to actually mint their Hape, we will see a price floor around that sort of 4 to 6 mark. It might go up higher, might go down lower, but I think that is a nice place where it should kind of sit. What will then happen is that as the time goes on, so once we run up about 24 hours, what you'll see is a steady increase of the purchases and the price floor rising. Because what will happen is there will be a FOMO. People will start seeing that you could have bought it 4 and it's gone up to 6. You could have bought it at 6, you could have sold at 7 or 8, and it's going to let it run up. Mekaverse kind of started to run up and hit around that sort of 8 to 9 ETH mark, and kind of you can see a sale that tapped out at about 10. But then what has happened is Mekaverse had a reveal, and then there was a big shakeup in terms of pricing, and then that's when things start to come down. For anyone new to the space, when a reveal does happen, that's usually when the price floor drops, because people will then offload their less rare NFTs, and people that are holding the more rare ones will then list them higher. So it's very frothy when it comes down to that. So with Mekaverse, when they had the reveal, it got very choppy, and then after that, over about a day, the price floor or the average price dropped by about half. Now, this is where I get a little bit interesting. I don't think Hape Beast will do an instant reveal. I think they will do a reveal similar to Mekaverse. If it runs out for around 2 or 3 days, I do believe we can get up to around that 8 to 10 ETH mark before reveal. If it is a reveal within 24 hours of the first minting, then I believe that we'll have some issues. I think with the project being this big, they're going to have to run through and make sure that the reveal is done fairly and use something like Chainlink to kind of verify the fact that they are actually doing it fairly, so that someone can't come in and put in offers on unrevealed items to actually snipe something rare, which was the case with Mekaverse. So we can see here that the price floor will drop after a release. Now, when we have a look at Mekaverse as the volume, you had the huge volume on the first day, and then as the volume dried up, the price ran up very, very high. Then after the reveal, there is a lot of volume, and then after that, the price starts to reduce. So with this in mind, I believe that Hape Beast, you will get about a 10 to 15x soon as you actually get one in hand, if you've got one. Another reason that I feel like the Hape Beast price floor pre-reveal can get to around that sort of 10 ETH mark quite easily is the fact that the Genesis collection is going for a floor price of 25. I don't think it'll get to 25, but I think half of the Genesis collection is a nice standing point. The markets really do like to play around with 50% support levels, so that's why I feel like it's not unheard of to get to that sort of 10 ETH or even a 12 ETH mark when it gets to Hape Beast. And that is just basing off some data that we've got when it comes to the Genesis collection. Anyone that's holding a Genesis Hape will be able to mint a Hape Beast, which then means that the price floor on the Genesis collection may actually drop a little bit after the fact. But saying that, there is this interesting dynamic when it comes down to the relationship that Hape Beast is having with their sort of community and their buyers, essentially. So there's an emotional aspect that's being brought into it that is very hard to actually quantify. What will then happen is that over a day or two, the price floor will rise up and it will keep rising until there is a reveal. Once the reveal happens, it will drop off. So if you are lucky enough to get in and get a Hape, don't sell it straight away, hold on to it, see what happens over that 12 or 24 hour period and see where the run up is, and find out when the reveal is going to be, and be prepared to sell before the reveal if you would like to do that. Now, the one big curveball thrown into this when it comes down to a sort of pricing and people actually flipping and selling is the fact that they're actually not going to be doing this public sale. And it means that 75% of our Hapes will be made available to handpicked members of our community. This is a huge task, and we don't think any other project has done this, at least not one operating at our scale. So where I feel like this may even have a blow off top when it comes to the pricing of Hape Beast on the secondary market is the fact that people that are handpicked to get these are less likely to be flippers. They could be flippers, and there will be some people that will see some life-changing money. So I think it will kind of reduce this because there will be this personal interaction. The Hape Beast team will be able to build relationships with these people when they're putting them on the list, which will then not necessarily guilt them into holding, but it'll kind of build this relationship where it's not just a monetary transaction. It'll come down to the fact that the people that they're interacting with are going to feel more attached to the project before they even get them. So what does that mean if you are lucky enough to get a Hape Beast spot? What I would do is I'll keep it and I would hold on to it to find out when the reveal is going to be. When you know when the reveal is going to be, if there is some life-changing money on the table, take that money and go spend it and invest it elsewhere. Use it to pay down some student debts, use it to kind of put towards your home loan, whatever it is. Because as much of a fan of NFTs as I am, I think the whole idea about NFTs and crypto in general is just bettering yourself in a financial way and not having to kind of grind through the rat race that everyone else is doing. If you can see what you believe as life-changing money, take it. Don't care about the haters. Don't listen to anyone else. Block it out. Take that money off the table. But I think you should wait until you find out when the reveal is going to be to then maximize those returns. If you are in that flip mentality and you still like the project, what I would do is I would follow this as a similar task and find out when the reveal is going to be. pay close attention to how the floor price is going, because there will be a way to snag something a little bit cheaper once the reveal has happened, because there will be people that will offload. What will happen is there will be the mentality of someone that has gotten a Hape Beast at sort of say 0.2, it's run up to 10 ETH, the reveal happens, it's gone down to 8, it's then gone down to 7, 6. They get scared that they're going to lose everything. They then paper hand and sell out, which will then ladder in the effect of the price floor dropping, which means some savvy buyers will be able to come in and scoop up some absolute bargains. Then after that sort of there has been a wipeout of the paper hands, there can be some consolidation and some building up. And I believe that there won't be as much liquidity as other projects, because they have kind of gone this hand-to-hand, one-to-one whitelisting of people, or Hape listing, to then make sure that there is a good project. And if you're the kind of person that just really wants to hold on to this project and never sell because you just want to be involved in it, then you can totally disregard this video. This video is for someone that may be able to get one and they're wondering about what they're going to do. If you are thinking about buying into Hape Beast in the secondary market, so you weren't able to get one of the Hape List spots or anything like that, I think the best time to buy would be straight after the people have minted and the floor kind of jumps in. So the way that you should do this is you should jump in and buy one, not straight away, give it 2 or 3 hours. You'll kind of see here on this chart, it starts off, it does dip down. You can then pick one up maybe sort of 3 to 4 hours afterwards, and then that floor starts to rise, because what happens is the people that get in early, they start to see that dropping, they start to list. Then some volume comes back into the market, which then lifts it back up, and then it kind of starts to move. So if you are going to be buying one on the secondary market, don't buy it the minute you can get it. Let it run out a little bit for a couple of hours, a few hours. When you see that, you can then scoop one up. What you will then see is a slow build up until the reveal. What you can then do, because you have bought in on the secondary market, you could ride it up from a 4 or a 5 ETH to an 8 or a 9, sell it before reveal, then when the price floor does drop, enter back in underneath your exit price when it came down to the selling. Now that isn't a guarantee that that's what will happen. If you do happen to get a bargain when it comes down to the secondary market and you don't feel like you can match that again, then definitely hold on to it. Hey, so Future Nate here. I realized as I was editing the video that I didn't do a long-term price prediction. Where I think it'll sit is between 1.5 and 2 ETH as a floor. I don't see it sitting too much higher than 4 ETH as a floor, unless they start to build their brand, execute on the roadmap, and build something bigger and larger than what Hape Beast is. So overall, that's where I see the price prediction of Hape Beast being over a longer term period, because the usual flow and structure is that on the secondary market, it comes in, the price floor drops and dips, it then rises back up to the reveal, then it drops even further down, and then it usually catches up, and then you find that equilibrium. The one main curveball when it does come down to this project is the fact that everyone's going to be handpicked, and you won't be able to kind of see this. The similarities with Mekaverse and the hype come into it, but the one thing that we're kind of not really playing on that is very unique is the fact that people aren't able to really mint 2 unless they're a part of some of these special groups, which then means that the general public aren't able to buy 2. It means that when they sell and they're out. When you are able to mint 2, like in Mekaverse, you were able to sell one and hold on to one, so you were able to take profit. So it added more liquidity to the market, and it meant that the price floor wasn't able to keep skyrocketing up and have a blow off top, because there were people always willing to sell them. I think if everyone's only able to really hold one in general, then there's going to be a chance that it could run up very, very high, very, very fast. And I think it's that point where you should almost, if you're able to get one on the sort of primary market, so you're able to mint a Hape Beast, you're almost better off taking that day off work, taking that day off school when it comes down to the days after, to make sure that you can actually execute a trade when you are, because you'd hate to be on a train, on a bus somewhere, and not be able to kind of execute that trade, because the difference between 6 ETH and 7 ETH doesn't seem like much, but that's an extra $4,000 or $5,000 in your pocket. And if you really are needing that money, then that is a good decision to make. So like I said, this is not financial advice. These are just some predictions and some patterns that I have noticed when it comes down to the NFT space and how things kind of move when it comes down to minting, reveal, and then post-reveal. you should look at this in an objective manner, remove everyone else from it. If there is money on the table that you feel like could change your life in some substantial way, you should definitely take it. This market is highly speculative. We went into an NFT bear market, then all of a sudden we're out of it. We don't know what's going to happen over the next week, let alone the next month when Hape Beast actually does release. So keep that in mind when you are looking at this and doing research. Write up a plan and stick to that plan, because if you write a plan and stick to that plan, then you're not going to regret it because you've thought out that plan. You haven't played with emotions, you've just played with logic. Overall, I hope you found value in this video. If you'd like me to do more follow-up Hape Beast related content, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. Also drop a comment or follow me on Twitter and be like, hey, let's do more Hape Beast stuff, and I can kind of jump in and check it out. Hape Beast are dripping out this information, and I'm trying to collate it and present it in a way that can benefit you and add more value to you. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.